All right. So this is part two. Part two. Welcome to the Almighty Lair, where we talk about hot sports topics, everything football, basketball, boxing, UFC, and WWE. Follow and subscribe on all major platforms: YouTube, Twitter, X, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. All of them are the same. The Almighty Lair. And don't forget to hit all notifications so you stay up to date with all daily topics. I'm Almighty Fenrir. Let's continue with the week two discussion and breakdown. So if you have not watched part one, go ahead and go into the file. 2005 season, Almighty Lair. Any of those should direct you right into week two, part one. So I will start at, I believe we are at Jaguars and Bengals. So let's go ahead and share and look at Jacksonville and Cincinnati. So Trevor Lawrence, 24 for 42, 271, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Travis Etienne, 14 for 71, 14 for 71, 5.1 yards per carry. Parker Washington, 5 for 76. Diami Brown, 557. Brian Thomas, 4 for 49. 210, 2 for 32. Travis Hunter, 3 for 22. I'll be speaking about that in a second. And then Joe Burrow gets injured. 7 for 31. 76 yards and a touchdown. Jake Browning comes in for relief. 21 for 32, 241, 2 touchdowns, 3 inners. Chase Brown, 16 for 47, 2.9 yards per carry. Jamar Chase with 14 for 165 and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 3 for 56 and a touchdowns. And then Noah Fant, 3 for 28. Okay, this is easy. And this is a game that I really wanted to speak about. My immediate breakdown for this game was Trevor Lawrence is hot garbage and Hunter is overrated at wide receiver. I don't know why you guys thought Travis Hunter would be anything at wide receiver. Did you watch his tape? Did you watch his games? When Hunter got all his stuff, it wasn't because, oh man, like it all his catches were against trash DBs. All of his catches were against trash DBs that were out of place. And I just knew when he goes to the NFL, he's not going to do that. He's not going to be able to do that. And this is what the college game does. Is Trevor Hunter, is he athletic? Yes. Is he a good football player? Yes. He's all of that. But college will make sometimes the players look way more better than they actually are. They have opened this playbook up so much to include Travis Hunter in there that now receivers who literally look like one of the young upcoming wide receivers who broke into the league last year and is literally a physical specimen at the wide receiver position. Brian Thomas Jr. is 6'3", 200 pounds. 6'3", 200. Last year made the Pro Bowl as a rookie. He runs a 4.33 40. And last year as a rookie, 87 catches, 1,200 yards, 10 touchdowns. As a rookie, through 2 games, he has 5 catches, 60 yards, no touchdowns. Because we're trying to open up and try to figure out how to put Travis Hunter in the games and stuff, that you're literally sacrificing a wide receiver who had 1,210 as a rookie, 6'3", 200 pounds, and runs a 4.3 40. You're sacrificing him in hopes that you can get Travis Hunter off the ground. Sorry. No. Travis Hunter should be coming second to Brian Thomas. But right now, it seems like he's coming first to him. Because Brian Thomas, it says he had 5 catches. 5 catches so far in this season, right? Where's his stats at? Okay. We're showing the stats. They're not even showing his they're not even showing his offensive stats. They're showing his defensive stats. There we go. So the guy who is your number 1 receiver has 5 catches. The guy who's number 2 has 9. How is this possible? He's not this, bro. He's not it. Y'all are forcing this guy to be something that he's not. He's not that guy, bro. Now at corner, I think he would have a better career. But even at corner, I don't think he's like this lockdown corner. He went against Chase on a couple plays and got demoralized. And we can sit there and say, okay, well, he's a rookie. Jamar Chase is, he been in the league for a minute. You know what I'm saying? He's really a number 1 wide receiver. Well, if you're the Heisman winner, if you're the Jim Thorpe winner, if you all world, I should be able to put you against the number 1 receiver. And this is exactly why sometimes in college football, y'all get hyped about a player so much that you forget how good or actually bad they actually are. Y'all have put this man on there's no way that and this is why when I see what happens with the Eagles and people say, well, of course. There are people that actually thought that Travis Hunter was a better receiver than he was a freaking corner. I watched them games. And trust me, I was going for Colorado on every single one of them. Long as they don't play Miami, I'm going for Colorado all the time. Bro, he's exciting. He's fast. He's athletic. All of that. Bro, on any team, he'd be a third or maybe two receiver. Now, corner, he can be your second corner or nickel on any team right now. Will he get better? Maybe. But if you're telling me today, watch this. I don't even think Travis Hunter was the number one corner in his own draft class. I think Will Johnson was the number one corner. I thought Will Johnson was the number one corner in football last year. Y'all got this man going both ways. Like he really just that guy. What has he shown you so far? He has 3 combined tackles in 2 games and 1 assist tackle. He was pass interference on tight ends and done nothing offensively that'd be like, yeah. I mean, Mbuka for the Tampa Bay is a way better receiver than Travis Hunter. And we're saying it because he might win Offensive Player of the Year. This is what happens with you guys sometimes. You will sit back and see a player and be like, man, he's really good. And then the funny part about it is y'all will get mad at that player because he does not rise to the expectation that y'all set for him in the first place. Why? He was never that good to begin with. So you over here mad at this player because he never rose up to what you thought he could be. Why'd you put him up there in the first place? I thought Travis Hunter was a good player in college. But never once did I see, when I seen Patrick Peterson, I thought Travis Hunter. Dion, I seen Travis Hunter. Charles Woodson, I seen Travis Hunter. Now, don't get me wrong. What he was able to accomplish in college, he deserved the Heisman. Played both sides. Elite corner on one side in college. Elite wide receiver in college on the other side. 1,000 yards reception on offense and like 3-4 picks on defense. Give it to you. For what he did last year in college football, he deserves the Heisman. But y'all stop thinking because you won a Heisman that you could come to the NFL and do what you did there. You have been awarded the Heisman due to what you did in college. We need to start seeing people who win the Heisman in college and being a third-day pick or second-day pick in the pros. Because that way we'll be actually sending a message that, hey, you might have did good here, but what you're doing necessarily will not translate not only to the NFL, but our team if we were to pick you at this point. Because y'all, every time somebody wins a Heisman in the pros, in college, they just got to go first round, right? No. Will Johnson did not go first round, and I thought he was the better corner out of Travis Hunter and him. Mbuka goes all the way down to the Tampa Bay, and he's a better wide receiver than Travis Hunter. Y'all cannot continue to get suckered in by these players. because they're not that good. But now off of him, Trevor Lawrence is hot garbage. And I'm sorry to say this because I'm not that type of guy. I don't want to say because I don't want to be that guy. Because I've never been that guy. I never use race. I never use color. Anything for me. I thought that, of course, race sometimes plays a part. I'm not stupid. But I ultimately believe that whatever I want to do, I can do it. I never use my color as a barrier, even though I know that there are people out there that will look at me and not see somebody that is on their level or a cup of tea, all that stuff, right? That being said, there's no way that that Trevor Lawrence is this type of quarterback and gets paid the money he does. My boy, let's really dissect this player, Trevor Lawrence. Let's really dissect this. Trevor Lawrence went 3 touchdowns to 2 inners against the Bengals, who have notably one of the worst defenses in football. Not only that, you lost to the backup. And if you did not think that Trevor Lawrence is basically a backup, masking himself as a starter, look at his numbers in touchdowns and interception, and look at the other guy who came in and look at his touchdowns and his touchdown interceptions. They both pretty much threw the same exact yards. 2 for 41, 241, 271, 30 yards difference. And he didn't even play the whole game. He threw multiple touchdowns and multiple inners. He threw multiple touchdowns and multiple inners. And you, as the guy who gets paid all this money, lose the game. If you've never, I'm not going to say this is, so that's just going to save me a little bit. But I'll say this. If you've ever never seen white privilege, here it is. What black player, again, let me know in the comment section, because I may be wrong. What black player that you know came in with such fanfare, was the top pick, and not got paid for the rookie salary? They re-upped and was one of the highest, if not the highest paid player, and did nothing before to warrant the contract that they got now. Can't use Jamarcus Russell because Jamarcus Russell's payment was paid because of his rookie deal. Can't use somebody like Albert Hainsworth because he was actually a very good player before he got paid. So we've seen a lot of players play well, get paid, and then people question their reason why they even got paid, right? But at least they played well in the beginning. Trevor Lawrence, in his rookie year, threw 12 touchdowns to 17 inners. The next year, He's 25-8. Good year, not great. I'd even say a solid year. The year after that, touchdowns go down, interceptions go up, 21-14. Last year, 11-7. What again is he getting paid for? Like, at least you play good and then we pay you. And then if you suck, you'll just fall with the ever-growing number of people who get paid, and then they act like they have nothing else to play for. So then their game drastically falls off. And that's mainly the reason why people don't get guaranteed contracts in the NFL like they do in the NBA, is because players who get paid in the NFL, sometimes when they get paid, they're never the same. He was never a good player. He had one decent season in 2022, his second year. The very next year, he throws 4 less touchdowns and throws, 6 more interceptions? And it's not like you guys don't spend nothing on offense. You give him a first-round running back, a first-round wide receiver. Let's not forget that they made tons of trades when they got people like Christian Kirk. I remember they stocked the whole team for him. Now you got him a Heisman winner. It's laughable. It is laughable of what you guys are doing. This guy is garbage. And like I said, if you never thought that white privilege existed, take no more of a thought and a look-see than to Trevor Lawrence, because he has done nothing for that contract. And he loses to a backup. That's all I got to say for the Jaguars. Now, for the Cincinnati Bengals, your season is over. Your season is over. Because if I'm not mistaken, Joe Burrow and his injury, it's going to be out for a while. He has surgery for his toe, and he's going to be out for at least 3 months. So your season is over. More importantly, what does this mean for Joe Burrow? What does this mean for the Cincinnati Bengals? It means that you guys got yet another quarterback that could have changed your franchise, but because you're inept to protect him, You guys are going to lose out again. You guys had Joe Burrow. You guys had Carson Palmer. You guys had Boomer. And you guys will get these quarterbacks, but cannot protect them. And then they leave. And it's like, when you grow up and most of the teams that you watch sucked, you're just hoping that they get better because you would love to see what they look like on the grand stages, right? So me growing up, that teams that used to suck so bad, the Bengals, the Cardinals, Detroit Lions. I don't know if I said the Browns, but the Browns, the Jets, the Dolphins. Trying to see who else. Tennessee. Like it's good to see some of the teams that were like bad to like have this resurgence or just look good because you're like, man, I've never seen this team in this light before. It's good to see these teams not just suck my whole life, right? And then you get a player like Joe Burrow. He gets matched up with his college teammate in Chase. They go to the AFC Championship game, win, go to the Super Bowl, and now for the first time in my life, I'm looking at the Bengals, and I'm like, man, as good as Carson Palmer, and Chad Johnson was, they never got here. So I'm looking at the stripes, and the stripes look different, even though they're probably not. The fact that you are seeing them in a winning light, things just look different about them. Right? And you've gotten this quarterback, and every 2 years, he's injured. Every 2 years, he's injured. Now, most people will sit back and say, man, it's the O-line. Man, it's the O-line. Man, it's the O-line. I have a different way I want to go. I even seen on ESPN where they were like, they were complaining about the O-line, but they also said maybe it's the philosophy. Because if you have the guy in shotgun all the time, the DNs can get to you a lot quicker because their bend does not have to be so precise, which means they can get to you faster. And if you're always throwing the ball, you have more of a chance to get injured. So if you're Joe Burrow and you're throwing the ball, 40 times a game, that means you have a lot more chances to be injured, right? But I'm going to take it a different route. It's not like the Bengals haven't tried. You know what I'm saying? It'd be different if the Bengals didn't try. They've drafted linemen. They've drafted O-linemen, I believe, in the first round. They've signed guys who are Pro Bowlers. They signed guys who are good tackles and linemen off other teams, and they did really good with it. Honestly, who's the O-line coach? That's where I'm going to go. Who's teaching them? And yeah, they're in the NFL, and at some point, you know what I'm saying, what should you be able to teach them or whatever. And to an extent, you're right. But at the same time, it's like no matter who they put back there, they suck. I mean, I remember Orlando Brown was a Pro Bowl tackle in football. Gets there and it's just hot garbage. They have guys who I just don't understand. Like, what happened? What happened? Because now it's like it doesn't matter who's on the line. For some reason, they just suck. So, yes, the philosophy I believe has to change because you just automatically see, oh, we got Chase, we got Higgins. Hey, we should be able to just throw this ball. And to a certain extent, that would be a great thing to do. But your linemen can't hold up. So as much as you want to throw 1,000 yards to Jamar Chase and he goes for 1,000 yards, and as much as you want to go to Higgins and then he gets 1,000 yards, you don't have the O lineman to do it. So in the draft, you got to look for a running back. Now, the part that I don't understand is that Chase Brown last year had a really good season. 990 yards and 7 touchdowns. A pretty good year considering that they throw the ball a lot. Average 4.3 yards a carry. Average about 61 yards a game. Fumbled only once from what I see. I don't know. What's going on with the run game? And I know it's so easy to abandon the run game because you have 2 ones at receiver, but when your quarterback gets hit as much as he does, at some point, our philosophy has to change. And yeah, it's sad because the guy's a true talent at the wide receiver position. I mean, quarterback position. He's a true talent, but they can't protect him. So I don't know what this says for his career. Does he ask out? And if so, does Jamar Chase leave with him? Honestly, if you know you're going to lose him, I'll say this. If you know you're going to lose Burrow, right? I would love to see that. It might not happen, but I would love to see this happen. Burrow and Chase both get traded in a package deal for J.J. McCartney and 2 ones. Who says no? Because the Vikings now get Jamar Chase and Burrow, and those guys team up with Justin Jefferson And then the Bengals basically start over. You have your young quarterback who is a first rounder, and now you don't have to throw the ball 100 times. You got Higgins, and now you just start building your team over again. Revamp the O-line, get you another running back in there, get you another receiver outside of Higgins, fix the defense up, and just go full rebuild mode. Bengals have their young quarterback that they can develop and build around and start over. Vikings have their quarterback and their wide receivers that took them to the national championship. Everybody gets what they need. We got the quarterback that could keep us in contention right now because Justin Jefferson, he's in his prime right now, and you don't want to miss out on his prime years with a quarterback that is still learning the position. And quite frankly, learning the philosophy. Because we got to remember, when he played for Michigan, that was a run-heavy team that when they needed him to throw, he threw. But he wasn't a thrower he wasn't throwing like that. Even though I think JJ McCarthy's gonna have a good career. Because I see what type of quarterback he is. So I think he's gonna have a good career. But now you're putting him with arguably the best receiver in the game and want to go vertical when that's not really JJ's game. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if you put Burrow in that situation, that is his game, that the Vikings have a better O-line. You put the three guys together that know each other the best, who won actually a national championship, first round grades, Heisman's, Biletnikovs. You put all those guys together and say, now let's make a run. You don't sacrifice Jamar Chase's prime years. You don't sacrifice Jay Jetta's prime years. You don't sacrifice Burrow's prime years. Because I guarantee you, Justin Jefferson with JJ McCartney, I don't think that's a recipe that's going to work. Because of the philosophies and what the players are just too different. But if you put JJ McCartney on his own team, and you don't have to worry about going vertical, even though you're not that type of guy, and then you can get more of a team that is more of what you are and build around your strengths, you got to have a better chance. So I will be looking heavily towards that. Next game is Browns and Ravens. And this was a shellacking of a blowout. Joe Flacco, 25 of 45, 199, 1 touchdown, 1 inner. Dalen Gabriel, 3 for 3, 19 in the touchdown. Judkins, 10 for 61, 6.1 average. Ford, 6 for 31, 5.2 average. Jerry Jeudy, 4 for 51, 12.8, no touchdowns. Fannin, 5 for 48, no touchdowns. David Njoku, 40, 4 for 40, no touchdowns. Tillman, 2 for 22, 1 touchdown. Dylan Sampson, 3 for 13 in the touchdown. Then you got on the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 19 for 29, 225, 4 touchdowns, no inners. Derrick Henry, 11 for 23, 2.1 average. Zay Flowers, 7 for 75. DeAndre Hopkins, 2 for 64 and a touchdown. Devontae Walker, 2 for 26, 2 touchdowns. Tylan Wallace, 2 for 25 on the touchdown. Immediate result. Immediate thoughts after that game. Judkins is RB1. The ball is getting ran so much different when Judkins is your running back, and I'm so happy that he is back with the team because they get a more physical identity when Judkins runs the ball. The immediate physicalness that you get when he's your running back versus all the other guys, you immediately see it and you immediately feel it. And the one thing that you want from a team that struggles with the pass is a team that can run the ball effectively. And I think with Judkins, he gives them that option to run the ball effectively because receiver-wise, let's be honest, they don't have it. It's not there. Judy is garbage. He's always been garbage, and he will continue to be garbage. You can't depend on him. And he had one solid year last year, and now we're going to hold him to wide receiver 1 when he's never been good anywhere except last year when he had a decent year. Last year, he goes 90 catches, 1,200 yards, 4 touchdowns. You played 16, 17 games, and all you got was 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns when you played 17 games. Your average was 13.6 yards per average. And you led the league in drops. He's not a number 1. At best, he's a number 2 receiver in the NFL. He's somebody's number 2. But if you're looking for Jerry Jeudy to be your number 1 wide receiver, not going to work. Not going to work. So hopefully, Isaiah Bond can maybe turn out to be what he was with Texas, because right now, that wide receiver room is diabolical. Diabolical. Yeah, it's no good. The other thing that I have for the Browns is no shade to Flacco, but let the young quarterbacks play. When I say that, this team ain't going nowhere. Let's keep it real. They're not going anywhere. And when you don't know what you have because you're trying to figure out what you do have, you got to let them play. You could have your franchise quarterback in the room with you right now. You could, but you don't know because you're playing Flacco. And again, no shade to Flacco. He played a Flacco-ish game, and then, and I'm not saying that to, be mean or anything like that, but it's like, if you honestly thought that Flacco was going to do more for the Browns, like, he's not. This is it. This is it. So if you are serious about your franchise, you gotta let the young guys play. If you want to keep Flacco as your backup, no problem. Veteran guy that when he gets his chance, you know what I'm saying, it's not like you're putting him in a situation that he can't thrive in. He's been here before. He knows how to play. You know what I'm saying? He's seen everything. He's and most people can't say my backup quarterback is a Super Bowl MVP winner. A lot of teams can't say that. So you having him as your backup, again, that serves you right. That serves you well, because at the end of the day, if I need somebody, if my starter guy goes down, I know I can call on you to be the guy that, you know what I'm saying, can get us out of a game or two. Keep us afloat until our starter comes back. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta let Dylan's. If like me, I love me some Shador, but if you don't want Shador to play, then let Dylan play. One of them got to play though. One of them has to play. And let's see what they got. Because if not, we need to go in the draft and we need to pick somebody up. But what the problem is you got Flacco playing and we don't know what our guy got. Like, Dylan came in 3 for 3, 19 and a touchdown, but like, did he really show you anything? No. He didn't show me anything. So, I need to see more. I need to see, do I need to dip back into the draft and go get us our guy? Because we don't know if our guy is in the building or not. But you won't know if Flacco is still getting reps as the starter. On the Ravens side, Lamar Jackson has evolved. I mean, we kind of knew that last year when he threw crazy numbers, and the only reason why he doesn't win the MVPs because maybe MVP fatigue, or last year, the year before that, maybe we should have gave it to Allen, so then we'll give it to him this year. But if you actually look at what Lamar has been doing for the last couple years, impressive. And for me to sit back and say that he has evolved it's a discredit to what he already was last year. But literally in this game, Lamar throws 225 yards and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. And for the first time, bro doesn't even go over 20 yards rushing. He is sitting in the pocket and dissecting you from the pocket, something that a lot of people said he couldn't do. The man last year, 41 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. What is that, like a 10? That's a 10-1 average. So for every 10 touchdowns he throws 1 interception. Amazing. He threw for 4,172 yards on 66 completion. with a passer rating of 119.6. And then he still runs for 915 yards and 4 touchdowns. Come on, man. That man had a crazy year last year. Crazy year. So for me to sit back and say, oh, he's evolved, he showed his evolution last year. He showed his evolution last year. But he's continually showing you that as much as he is good with his feet, he's just as good as with his arm. That being said, Derrick Henry did not show up. He did not show up. When you're Derrick Henry, you're 6'3", 6'4", 250 pounds, and the best you can muster up is 11 for 23 and 2.1 average. That can't happen. Now, granted, I think that the Browns are good at a lot of things, and they have my favorite defensive player in the game right now, in Myles Garrett, who is the most complete DE lineman in football right now. You gotta become you gotta be better, especially where you envision this team going next year or this year. Where you envision this team going, you gotta be better. Because you gotta understand that it's gonna get colder, and we're gonna need you to play like your old self if we have any type of thought of winning. Because when it gets cold, that's when the running game has to pick up. And, we're going to need that. But 23 yards and only 2.1 yards a carry, not good. But me knowing Derrick Henry and how he plays, he will definitely show up the next game. And the last thing that I picked up was Hopkins is he is channeling his Texan days. If you've been watching Hopkins, I could have sworn his career died with the Texans. Because that's where all receivers' careers go to die. And then I thought his career was dead with the Chiefs. And then he goes and plays with Lamar, and he is making catches like he did when he played for the Texans. And I could have sworn this guy had one foot out the door. Is he the same receiver that he was with the Texans? No. But he's a savvy veteran who does know how to run routes. And with Zay Flowers getting the attention and Lamar getting the attention and Derrick Henry getting attention, he can slip through, sit in the zone, catch a few pop passes, and be where his quarterback needs him to be. because he's just that good of a veteran. I think the DeAndre Hopkins was a very underrated pick, and he is having himself a good year so far. Next game is the Bears and Lions. Another shellacking of a game. Caleb Williams, 19 for 30, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 inner. DeAndre Swift, 12 for 63, 5.2 average, 1 touchdown. Rome Doomsday, 7, 128, 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore, 5 for 46, 9.2. And then on the Lions, Jared Goff, 23 for 28, 334, 5 touchdowns. Gibbs, 12 for 94, a touchdown. David Montgomery, 1157, a touchdown. Amar St. Brown, 9, 115, 12.8 average, 3 touchdowns. Jamison Williams, 108, 2 catches, 54 yards average, and a touchdown. And then Brock Wright also caught 1. All right. My immediate thoughts after the game, starting with the Bears, Rome Odunze might creep into a top 10 receiver. Rome Odunze is having a very, very good year so far. Rome Odunze is. Last year, he was a rookie, and he had himself a good year last year. And with so many questions surrounding the Bears, it isn't – Rome Odunze is not one of them. 13 catches, 165. What was just the last game? Did they play Minnesota? Oh, yeah, they did. Well, he scored last game. He didn't really go off last game, but I think Rome Odunze, the way he's playing, he can creep into a lot of people's top 10 if he continues having the year that he's having. The one thing about receiver that's happening this year is that maybe the top 5 is still solidified, but that 6 through, 10, 6 through 12, that can jumble. You know what I'm saying? And all it takes is for you to have a really good year for people to start considering you maybe, whether it's too high or not, start putting you into a conversation of being in the top 10. So Roman Dunze is having a good solid year so far. Keeps it up. And I think that he could start creeping into that top 10, if not top 15. The second thing I got was when I was watching the Bears. As much as I want to sit here and talk about Caleb, right? And Caleb, I've said it before. I think he's overrated. I think that like him and Travis Hunter, I think that these are two guys who are wildly overrated, and I don't understand where they're getting all this love from, because I just never seen it. You know what I'm saying? And even though they are getting, Heisman, I just do not see how They are these guys who you thought was going to just change your franchise. I said that when Caleb first got drafted to the team. Oh, he's the next Patrick Mahomes. He has the same traits as Patrick Mahomes. I don't care if you have the same traits as this quarterback. Are you that quarterback? And when I seen Caleb, I just never seen franchise changer. I didn't see that. But I think I spoke on him already in my last video. So I'll speak on another guy. What happened to DJ Moore? What happened to him? What has happened to DJ Moore? Because I could have sworn DJ came in here to be their number one and give Caleb that number one receiver that was young, that he can grow with. I haven't seen it. So as much as I want to sit there and question Caleb, because trust me, Caleb deserves it all. But at the same time, where's DJ? Year before last, 966 yards, 6 touchdowns. This year, 8 catches, 114 yards between 2 games, no touchdowns. He was supposed to be the guy, but right now it seems like the Doomsday might be the number one. So as much as I question Caleb, and like I said again, he deserves it all. But in 2 games, he played the Vikings. He had 3 catches for 68 yards. Then he plays against the Lions and has 5 catches for 46 yards. Are they not? I don't know what's going on, but he's 28 this year. You know what I'm saying? So his clock is running out too. So those are the things that I've looked at the Bears and those are my immediate thoughts and questions. For the Lions, it's St. Brown is unstoppable. DBs can't keep up with Jameson. Jared Goff goes off. And Sonic and Knuckles have a bounce back game. Starting with St. Brown, St. Brown is, if he wasn't in your top 5, he should be. And he should probably be around 3 or 4. Obviously, the top 2 are very easy, and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. And then after that, it's not crazy to sit there and say that St. Brown is the 3rd best wide receiver in football. I'm looking at Madden right now, and even Madden has him as the 3rd best receiver. So, because Lamb is right after him, Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, A.J. Brown, Mike Evans, Drake London, Puka, Devontae, and then Devontae, Nico, Neighbors, Diggs, and Jigba. So if you, besides Jamar Chase and besides Justin Jefferson, even though I love me some Tyreek Hill, he's 31. St. Brown is only 25. And St. Brown has been putting up crazy numbers for the last couple years. His rookie year, 912 yards, 5 touchdowns. He follows that up with 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. Follows that year up with 15 and 10, and then last year has 12 and 12. So the man is putting up great numbers. So me particularly, outside of Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, St. Brown, I would take as the third best receiver in football right now. I would take him in football right now. And like I said, the guy is just a model of consistency. And when I watched his practice, I think they had like the joint practice. I forgot which team. I think it was maybe the Packers or somebody. But he's routing them boys up. So, yeah, he at this point is one like St. Brown gives me Antonio Brown vibes. Short guy, but if you've seen him, you don't want. If you're a DB, you don't like that your season is. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a tough season. It's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be a tough game. And so far, like I said, St. Brown been only in the league for 4 years, and outside of his first year where he almost goes for 1,000, has gone for 1,000 yards plus. And the way he's going, he'll be going for another 1,000 yards this season. So, definitely a top 3 wide receiver. DBs can't stand up with Jamison. Arguably top 3 duo in football as receivers. You got your guy who can do everything underneath, catches everything with St. Brown, and then Jamison goes deep, and you can't catch him because he runs a 4.3 and probably even faster than that in the 40. So they have it's so funny that I think they're the only team in football that have the best combination at receiver and running back. They have the best combination of both. They're arguably in the conversation of having the best tandem wide receiver and the best tandem running back. Jared Goff goes off. I think Jared Goff is one of your last. He's one of the last pure pocket quarterbacks. And when you sit back and you let him just put the ball in, you let him just put the ball in his players' hands and let them do the job. He has all the pieces around him to allow him to do just that. He doesn't have to be Superman. He doesn't have to make. He just puts the ball in where the players need the ball and want the ball, and he lets them play. If I was to look at Jared Goff, I kind of look at him like how I look at like Alabama quarterbacks who are like always surrounded by like great talent, and you're not looking for your guy to do too much. You're just looking for your guy to put the ball in the superstars' hands and let them just play. And I think that he does that so well. He just puts the ball in his players' hands and he just lets them play. And I think that he's one of the few that does that really, really well. And then, like I said, Sonic and Knuckles, they probably have the best 1-2 punch in all of football at the running back position. Sonic Knuckles beats you up, and then Sonic runs past you, or Sonic runs past you, and then Knuckles beats you up. regardless of how the combination goes, at the end of the day, that's how it's going to go. And that's what happened this week. Knuckles beats you up. Sonic runs right past you. So very good running back tandem. And, this team has very high expectations. You know what I'm saying? We have questions about the Commanders. Are they really the team that we thought they were? Daniels has a small little injury that he'll be out for next week. The Green Bay Packers is really good. And then, the Vikings, can they get it together? So, there's a lot of question marks, and teams that used to be up went down. And, they're not as powerful as we've seen them, like the Niners, like the Seahawks. So you could possibly be vying to be playing for that big game. You know what I'm saying? So this is a team that has a lot of expectations, and hopefully they continue playing the football that we know that they can play. Because again, my whole life, this has not been a team that is one of the best, and for them to have risen to become, now we expect something for them, is really, really good for not only just the team, but just football in itself. And I'm just really, really want to see what this team can do if they are healthy, and what can they do? Because this is a team last year that had it all, but injuries just bit them. So we'll see what happens. Next game is the Broncos and the Colts. Very close game in which the Colts win 28-29. Some of the stats: Broncos, Bo Nix, 22 for 30, 206, 3 touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins, 14 for 76 and a touchdown. Troy Franklin, 8 for 89, a touchdown. Marvin Mims, 2 for 24 and a touchdown. And Adam Trotman, 3 for 10. And Cortland Sutton, 1 for 6. Colts, Daniel Jones, 23 for 34, 316, 1 touchdown, no inners. Jonathan Taylor, 25 for 165, 6.6 average. Daniel Jones also runs a touchdown in, so he has 2 touchdowns on the day. Tyler Warren, 4 for 79. Jonathan Taylor scores on the ground and in the air. No, just on the ground. Just in the air. But he runs for 165, but then also 2 for 50 and a touchdown. So my immediate thoughts after that game was Broncos played good as a team. There was no real there was no real they don't have a real superstar on offense yet. I think that they need a wide receiver that they can depend on. And Sutton was supposed to be that guy for them, but Sutton's 29 years old. He'll be 30 in a couple weeks. Or next month he'll be 30. So in a couple weeks he'll be 30. So they'll probably be trying to move off him. But you could see that just by he has not been involved. He has 1 catch for 6 yards. And then the game before that against the Titans. No, was that against the Titans? No. Let's see. Oh, it was against the Titans. 6 for 61 and a touchdown. So he had 1,000 yards last year and 8 touchdowns. But one thing about Sutton, he's a very up and down player. And when you're trying to build something, you need more stability. And like I said, he's already about to be 30. So I think in the draft, they'll need to try to address that. A wide receiver in the draft. Defense is pretty good already. I think they need to start working on the offense. But that's one thing. If you could point to one thing about if the offense is not really have that go-to guy, I think that could also make them scary. Because let's say, for instance, if you're going against, let's say, what a team that got a good wide receiver, like just one good receiver, right? So let's say let's say like the Washington, right? Commanders, right? And we know their guy is Terry McLaurin, right? We know that's their guy. If we can stop him, then we've pretty much nullified their whole offense almost, right? Or even somebody like the Giants. If we could stop Malik Neighbors, we can pretty much stop their whole offense, right? So if you play with a team that don't really have nobody, right? So let's say, let me find a team that really ain't got nobody. Like the Raiders, right? You play against the Raiders, right? And you be like, well, they ain't really got nobody. Well, that means that anybody can be the guy that kills you, right? Because you're not doubling nobody. So pretty much everybody is free. I mean, their best receiver is probably Brock Bowers right now. So everybody else is not double, and you can't shift the defense to one side. So anybody can be open, from Myers to Tucker, from Beck, and to Dante Thornton. Anybody can be open. So that's what makes it a little bit more challenging, because I don't know who to game plan for. Therefore, anybody can one day, maybe Tucker goes off one game Thornton goes off, one game Myers goes off. So it's harder to game plan. But that's the best case scenario for a scenario where you don't have really good wide receivers. And I think that's kind of what, the Broncos had last game, or, with this year, they don't really have a go-to receiver, but which that can make them kind of more deadlier, because there is no game planning, because you don't know who is going to be their guy. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the positives that I can at least say, when you don't have that go-to guy. Other than that, there's a penalty at the end of the game, saves them. They honestly could have lost this game with the kick, but that penalty, and this is exactly why it's important to have discipline, because in all actuality, Denver should be 2-0, and the coach should be 1-1. But because there's no discipline, you guys got the late flag, puts them in a better position to kick the field goal, and then they win the game. For the Colts, Daniel Jones is having a career resurrection, and that's crazy, because a lot of us were looking at Daniel Jones as like not only a backup, but like one of the most laughable quarterbacks in football. The man trips over his own legs at times, just wildly inaccurate when he was playing with the Giants, and got paid all this money, and you're like, why? Like, he don't deserve that. Why is he getting paid all this money? And you see how the man's been playing so far, and it's like, wow. Now it goes from, wow, Daniel Jones is a really, really bad quarterback to now, man, is it just the Giants or just a bad organization? Because Saquon leaves that team and goes to have one of the best running back years ever, right? Daniel Jones leaves and is 2-0 for a Colts team that he wasn't even slated to be the starter of because he was playing backup to a top 5, top 10 pick at quarterback. And he is playing some of his best football. So I don't know. Is this the Colts just having more structure and stability, or is it just that the Giants is just, they don't know what they be doing at times? They don't know they don't know what they're doing. But me personally, I'm happy that Daniel Jones is having a career resurrection because it's always good for the league when players when it's new players doing well. You know, one thing about basketball is that the guys who did pretty well last year are going to be doing this good this year. LeBron's going to be LeBron. Giannis is going to be Giannis. Steph is going to be Steph. You know, these guys are going to be these guys. And there's no real guys that you look at and be like, oh, well, here's the new star of the league. This is the guy coming up. Like, it's very rarely that. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to see that Daniel Jones, a player that a lot of people, including me, was just like, bro, this guy is not good. Literally goes to another team and is playing very, very well. So my hat's off to Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor looks to enter his name back into the top 5 running backs. I always thought that Jonathan Taylor was a top running back, but because I believe he got injured or last year or something, his name kind of fell out. And I'm just happy that he's having a good year this year. Because again, I'm looking on Madden right now, and from a running back position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They have him as the 9th best running back, behind Josh Jacobs, James Cook, Joe Mixon, Christian McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. Honestly, out of all of these guys, the only running back I'm probably taking over Taylor, in my humblest opinion, Saquon Barkley, and maybe Derrick Henry. Gibbs is good what he does, but he does not run through the top. He runs, he's an outside guy, he's not really an inside guy. Bijan Robinson could do a little bit of everything, but I still like Taylor over than him. Christian McCaffrey can do a little bit of everything, but he's so injury prone. So I'll take the durability and the ability to break tackles and truck people than Christian McCaffrey. Mixon, I think, is a solid back, but not really just great at anything. I think he's good at a lot, but not great in anything. And so while I think he's still a good back, I would still take Taylor because of Taylor's ability to hit the home run. I think Cook is good, but I think if you put Cook on any other team and a quarterback was not an MVP candidate, he's an average back or maybe even good back, but I would not take him over Jonathan Taylor at all. So again, while I think that there's a lot of good backs outside of maybe Saquon and maybe Derrick Henry, and if you bend my finger, maybe Bijan. There's no other quarterback. There's no other running back that I'm taking over him. So hopefully Taylor has a very good year so he could assert himself back into that top 5 running back. So that was my initial thoughts on those games. The next game to be looked at would be the Panthers and the Cardinals. And this is the I Don't Care Bowl because, let's be honest, no one's looking for anything from either team. But the Cardinals are 2-0, and again, I love seeing teams that were bad or nothing, or teams that we um, don't see nothing from, and then they end up being good the next year. So keeping up to for what I said just earlier is that I love seeing competition. I love seeing teams elevate, and like I said, the Cardinals are 2-0, so that is a good thing. Bryce Young, 35 for 55, 328, 3 touchdowns, 1 inner. Chuba Hubbard, 10 for 38, 3.8 yards per carry. McMillan, 6 for 100. And Hunter Renfrow, 7 for 48, 2 touchdowns. Chuba Hubbard, 1 score through the air, 5 for 39. And Xavier Legette, 1 for -2. Then you have the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, 17 for 25, 220, 1 touchdown, 1 inner. James Conner, 11 for 34, 3.1 average and a touchdown. Trey McBride, 6 for 78. And Michael Wilson, 1 for 11 and a touchdown. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 for 27. All right, immediate thoughts. Don't be fooled by the score. It was over late in the 4th. So even though we're looking at this score and seeing 22-27, this must have been a very close game. No, this game was over in the 4th. As we see here, the score was 27-9 in the 4th quarter. 27-9. They didn't score. They scored 13 unanswered points in the 4th, and it was late in the 4th. So this game was more about the Arizona Cardinals letting the game slip away versus was the Carolina Panthers trying to take the game back. It was more of the Cardinals just letting, you know what I'm saying? So this game was not close. I know the score says 22-27, but this game was not close. It was 27-9 entering the 4th quarter, and they didn't start scoring until like the last 5 minutes of the game. So this game was over. McMillan has his breakout game. He has 100 yards. He didn't score, but he did go for 100 yards, 6 catches. Again, you got a rookie guy. You just want him to get more games under his belt, get him more, you know what I'm saying, confident, you know what I'm saying? So that's what you want from your rookie. And like I said, 6 for 100. That is pretty good for your rookie. And the only thing that I picked up from this game for the to the Cardinals is that Kyler has his team 2-0. Kyler didn't have a great game. He had a decent game. 220, 1 touchdown, 1 in there. I think Kyler Kyler's one of them players that should be better than what he actually is. He should be better than what he is. I don't know what it is. Is it the off the field stuff where he's trying to make a brand for himself outside of football? I don't know what it is, but Kyler, to me at least, I feel like he should be better than what he actually is, but he isn't. And those reasons I don't know. I can only speculate, but I actually like Kyler Murray. I just don't. I want him to be better, but at the end of the day, they are 2-0, and you know, he just made, the right plays at the right time. It wasn't like he had like a crazy game. He just made the right plays at the right time. Trey McBride, still very reliable, 6 for 78. Marvin Harrison Jr., 2 for 27. I would love to see Marvin Harrison be more involved in the game plan. I don't know if he is or he isn't, is he involved, but like he just, isn't getting open. Marvin Harrison was supposed to be the heir apparent to Fitzgerald, and so far we have not seen it, even though he has all the tools and the height and everything that you require from a number one. He has not reached that. He has not reached there yet. So we're still looking to see when that comes in, but we haven't seen it yet. But hopefully they get it. There's one thing that I forgot to write on my notes, but I do want to talk about. Why was he picked in the first round? Like, no hate. I am not a hater, bro. I am not a hater. I just when I just I keep it real. And wait, did it say he got traded? Or is this fake? Panthers shut down Leggett at Wednesday's practice. Panthers trading. Is this real? This can't be real. Oh, okay, so it hasn't happened. Okay. But yeah, I was about to be like, what? Um yeah, what does he do? Like, what did you even see in him for y'all to even pick him in the first round? Look at his stats. Right now, his stats in 2 games: 8 catches for 8 yards, averaging 2 yards per catch with no touchdowns. I know that the Panthers are a bad team. That is not lost on me. But my God, what, like, huh? Like, honestly, this is what I'm going to say. This is who Deebo Samuels would be if you did not use him correctly. If you did not use him correctly, this would be Deebo. Now, this could be that they are not using him correctly. Because in college football, in the first 4 years of South Carolina, Leggett played in 41 games, 17 starts, 42 yards for 423 yards and 5 touchdowns. As a fifth-year senior, Leggett became the team's number one receiver. He totaled 1,000 whatever yards, 7 touchdowns, 71 whatever. And his career high was 217 games against Jacksonville State. So he didn't play nobody. But as a pro, and got the body, 6'3", 227, ran a 4.37, a 4.39, bench press 24. So he has all the physical tools, but they're not using them correctly because they have him as a traditional wide receiver, and he needs to be more in a Debo role. Move him around, use him in the slot, use him in the backfield, wraparounds, you know what I'm saying, screen plays. Because if y'all using him as a traditional receiver, it's not going to work. Bro's out there looking like a straight bust out there. In 2 games, he has 8 yards. One game, he has 10 yards for 3 catches. And last game, he goes 1 for -2. I did see Cam Newton talk about him a little bit. As we see here, says he was non-existent. It's like, I know more about Leggett outside of football than I know about him in football. And that's not good, especially for a young player. I should know you about playing football. I know more about Leggett with the crazy accent, with the and like I said, bro looked like a good human being. Bro looks like he got his head on straight. Bro looked like he is a good human being. I don't want to stress that enough. Bro looks like, and honestly, bro looked like he wants to be a good player. But if I got to call a spade, it is not working. It is not working. Because he's out there, and if I was to tell you that he was a first rounder, McMillan's a first rounder. McMillan's looking better than him. Renfro was just selling cars. Renfro looks better than him. People have already been saying that Jimmy Horn is out here destroying ankles in practice, and I don't know why he's not playing. So Leggett, what is he doing out there? Again, I don't want to be like I'm too harsh on bro, because trust me, if I want to be harsh on people, I will. But it looked like it's his fault, but it also looks like it isn't his fault. Because again, if you're playing him outside of what he's good at, then of course he's not going to do well. But I just know more about him outside of football than I do about him inside of football. And when you're playing as, you know, a football player, me personally, I'm not supposed to know you outside of football more than I know about you inside of football. And you're a young guy. So I don't know. He is literally one of the worst first round wide receivers I ain't seen in a long time. Because trust me, I was a Raider fan at one point in my life, and we had players like Darius Hayward-Bay. So trust me, I know. But at least Hayward-Bay had speed, and we can, get him some deep route passes, and you know what I'm saying. But with Leggett, I'm just like, what does he do? I honestly don't know. He's a first rounder, and I don't know what he does. So yeah, I maybe he goes to, you know what I'm saying, maybe he goes to Washington and learns under Debo, because Debo's 29. So you go learn over there, and then you become the new Debo. You got the size, you got the speed. You could become the next Debo. Not to mention, I believe y'all went to the same school. There you go. But when you're trying to use Xavier Leggett and you're trying to use Debo Samuels as a traditional wide receiver, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because they are not traditional receivers. But I just thought I had to say that. All right. Next game is Eagles and Chiefs. 17-20, Eagles win. Jalen Hurts, 15 for 22, 101, no touchdowns, no inners. Saquon, 22 of 88, 4 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. Jalen Hurts, 9-15, 1.7 yards per carry. He did score a touchdown. Devontae Smith, 4 for 58. A.J. Brown, 5 for 27. And then there's just a huge drop-off. And then for the Chiefs, you got 16 for 29, 187, 1 touchdown, 1 inner. Patrick Mahomes is your leading rusher with 7 yards and 66 and a touchdown. Kareem Hunt, 8 for 31. And Isaiah Pacheco, 10 for 22, 2 yards per carry. Receiving, Travis Kelce, 4 for 61. And Tyquan Thornton, 2 for 59. Hollywood Brown, 5 for 30. Here are my initial thoughts on that game. Slow day at the office for the Eagles offense, and Saquon has a solid game. A lot of people complained about the Eagles. Some people say that their offense is boring. Some people say like, oh, the tush push should be banned. Oh, Jalen Hurts isn't really that good. Blah 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 blah. It just sounds like a lot of people that are hurt because you guys have. I'm from an era where one, a win is a win, and two, when I seen games that were like 6-3, and like, you know what I'm saying, like 6-9, you know what I'm saying, games like that, I was happy because I seen a real good defensive game. The problem is that people do not appreciate good defense. People do not like or appreciate a good rivalry. So we'll sit back and say defenses aren't the same. And yes, we could point the fingers to the commissioner and the lawmakers who've made the game look way more soft than what it used to be. And you wouldn't be wrong. But then we are wrong, and not me. When I say we, I mean the consumer, the fans. Because when we get games that are not that high powered, we complain. And me, I could look at this game and look at Patrick Mahomes and say, man, a great quarterback with Patrick Mahomes only went 187 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 inter. And then I could look at, man, a quarterback like Jalen Hurts, only 101 yards. One, they are playing they're two good defenses. And one thing that the Eagles do very well is run the ball with Jalen Hurts and with Saquon. Saquon, though he runs the ball 22 for 88 and has a 4-point yard, a 4-point yard average and a touchdown, he didn't go over 100. Jalen Hurts is 9 for 15. And I don't know, but where has AJ Brown been? Like, has he checked out? He won a Super Bowl ring, and then he's like, all right, cool. Because we could sit there and talk about Jalen Hurts not giving him the ball, but is AJ Brown getting open? I don't know. But AJ Brown, he's been almost like invisible for the last 2 games. So, but the point that I want to say is that if you're an Eagles fan, and if you just care about football in general, like I said, you got the dub. I don't care how it looks. And not only did you get the dub, you got the dub against one of the teams that is always amongst the AFC favorite to return to the Super Bowl. Not only that, you just played this team in the Super Bowl. And though the game is a lot closer this game, you won again. Two and 0 the Philadelphia Eagles are, and now the Kansas City Chiefs are stuck at 0-2. And they're playing in a division that's a lot more difficult than it's been in years past. And I believe I'll be talking about that game shortly. With the Chargers, who I believe has the best chance to win the AFC West, when a lot of people was picking the Denver Broncos. I'm picking the Chargers. But that's the one thing about Jalen Hurts that I love, is because y'all are looking at stats. The only person where stats don't matter is quarterback. It's the only position. Wide receiver matters. Running back matters. Tight end matters. Quarterback, it don't tell the whole story, nor does it really matter, because at the quarterback position, I need good decision making. Because, yeah, I could throw the ball, but no, it does not entail for me to throw the ball. Right here, I should run the ball. But if all you thinking about is your stats, and even if you see a play where you're like, you know what, running the ball would be more smart to do here, but I'm going to throw the ball for the sake that I want to show that I got it, that's not smart. I want my quarterback to be smart, make good decisions. You guys care if your quarterback throws for 300 yards. Guess what? That's cool. That's good. But at the end of the day, I want my quarterback to make the right decisions at the right time in critical times and get me the W. No quarterback outside of maybe Patrick Mahomes does that better than Jalen Hurts. That's why me particularly, if you asked me who are the top 5 quarterbacks in football, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Burrow, and Hurts. Top 5. Hurts is in that top 5. I don't care if you don't, oh, he don't really do nothing. He only threw for one. He won. He won. You gonna talk about yards, and Chris Jones even said it in the game, like you did the same play like 7 times, or you only went for 100 yards passing. Shut up. And what was Jalen Hurts' comeback? We won the game. Shut your ass up. What good is throwing for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a loss? I don't care about throwing for 1 billion yards. I want to win games. I want to be playing in January, February. I want to play in the Super Bowl. I want to win a championship. That's how your legacy gets, that's how you get enshrined into the Hall of Fame. You gotta win. Not just throw for a hella yards. Because if you look at somebody like Phillip Rivers, who throws hella yards, no chip, he's not considered to go to the Hall of Fame. But then you got somebody like Eli, who led the league in interception 3 or 4 times, but got 2 chips and 2 MVPs with it, go into the Hall of Fame. You got to win the big games. MVPs. Jalen Hurts got that. Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winner. He could die tomorrow. When they say his name, Super Bowl quarterback, Jalen Hurts, that is a title like doctor. They say that name before they say your name. When you work hard to become a doctor, anytime they say your name, they say, Doctor, blah, 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 blah. You worked hard for that title. So out of respect, I'm not going to just call you blah, 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 blah. I'm going to call you Doctor, blah, 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 blah. If you ever become the president, even if you are no longer the president, you don't just say Barack Obama. At least professional people will never call you that. Regular people off the street, because they don't know anything, they're going to call you Barack Obama. But people who actually have class and people who actually are in the business of interviewing people, they always will call you President Barack Obama or President Obama. They'll never just call you by your first name and last name. You earned that title. When you win a Super Bowl, you are forever gonna have that name in front of your that title in front of your name. Super Bowl winner Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl winner Patrick Mahomes. You have that name in front of your name. I don't care. Because for all you guys will probably say that Patrick Mahomes is better. And guess what? Jalen Hurts Patrick Mahomes is the only quarterback that I would take over Jalen Hurts. But guess what? I guarantee you, if you ask Patrick Mahomes, would he rather have a number 1 running back in the league? Would he love to have a top 3 pass catching duo in the league? Would he rather have he has Jones at D tackle, and then he also has where's his name, man? I'm pretty sure I'll see it. McDuffie. He has McDuffie at corner. But if you ask him, hey, Patrick Mahomes, would you love a middle linebacker that's a first team All-Pro? Would you love 2 corners that are really, really good? Would you love a D-line so good that you don't have to blitz? Would you love to have 2 wide receivers that are arguably the top 3 duo in football? Would you love to? Of course he would. No quarterback, no player wouldn't want to. So don't get mad that Jalen Hurts has it and your team doesn't. That's not the fault of Jalen Hurts. That's not the fault of the Eagles because they know how to draft well and see talent and go get them. That's not their fault. That's a plus. I'll never look at a team and say, "Oh, that's a negative." Oh, well, he has a better team. Oh, well, he has a better. Yes. You know why? Because their organization knows how to accumulate and get talent. That's not a negative. That's a plus. Because guess what, boys and girls? That's what every team should be striving to do. Every team in the NFL should be striving to put their teams in a better position than it was last year. If you have, what do you think the draft is for? What do you think the draft is for? There is a need in your team. Let's go get a young guy who we think could start. That's every team. What do you think free agency is for? What do you think trades are for? The Eagles, the Eagles aren't the only team that gets to trade. The Eagles aren't the only team who gets to draft. Every team in the NFL gets to do the same thing the Eagles do. The difference is the Eagles does it better than any other team. And you know what the funny part about it is? Because the Eagles have been in the playoffs for so many years, they're never picking top 5, really. So that means by the time you get to the Eagles and they get these said players who changes their franchise, you had an opportunity to get them first. You had an opportunity to get Saquon from the Giants. You had an opportunity to get A.J. Brown from Tennessee. A.J. Brown wasn't even a first rounder, so you could have got him in the first round. Devontae Smith wasn't the first receiver taken. You could have got Devontae Smith. Goddard wasn't a first round. You could have got Goddard. Jalen Hurts was picked in a second. You could have got Hurts. You could have got Kelsey at center. You could have got Lane Johnson. On defense, you could have got Cooper. You could have got Bond. There's a lot of players that you guys could have gotten. But now you mad at me because I got him. That's not fair. You mad at me because I can identify talent. Seems like you guys are just mad for no reason. Mad for no reason. All the talent that the Eagles got, you guys had a chance to get them too. And then after you get them, you still got to put it together. The only thing that I really have for the Chiefs is they have no run game and Mahomes does what he can. I am watching Mahomes literally doing what he possibly can to keep that team afloat. He's running the ball. He's trying to pass the ball. But that team is breaking from the inside out. Pacheco was supposed to be, at least in thought and theory, the next Marshawn Lynch. the guy that runs behind his pads in an era where we're more spread out. So, you know what I'm saying? He's more of a pass catcher or run outside the tackle. He was one of the running backs that was running up the middle. Hard to bring down. And now it's like, where did that go? 2002, 835. 2003, 935 and 7. 2005 last year, 310 and 1. And now this year, 15 and 47 and 0. Where did this running game go? And it's crazy because I advocate for receivers getting paid. But when you look at some of these receivers and how they could be good one year and just bad or gone the next year, you're like, it's kind of hard to advocate for you guys getting paid when one year you're one of the best and you seem to be this guy on a trajectory to the very next year just being another guy that we can get in the 4th or 5th round. And I'm of the era where running backs were treated with more respect. They were picked in the 1st round. We actually looked for them. Eddie Georges and LaDainian Tomlinson and Marshawn Lynch and Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles. Like, I was in the era where the running backs were really good. Ricky Williams and now they'll pick your running back in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. And then don't pay him. And then when we do pay him, the highest paid is probably getting tight end money. It's hard to vouch for you guys because right now your quarterback is your leading rusher, and he ain't even the running type. He's not he's not a quarterback that runs. He only runs when he needs to. He's not a run first quarterback. So the fact that your non-run first quarterback is the leading rusher, what happened? So, I mean, long as Patrick Mahomes is on that team, long as Reed is on that team, I'm not going to sit there and say you ain't got to worry about him. But as far as being that team where it was like, they're guaranteed lock for the Super Bowl, I don't see it no more. Tyreek Hill in on that team. Travis Kelce's getting older. Tyreek Hill might be coming back. But what made that team go was not only the over the top, but it was underneath the middle with Kelce, but Kelce's getting older. And there's no promise that Tyreek Hill is even coming to that team. It'd be nice to see him back, just to see that old school connection. Let's see if there is something left. But I just don't see the Chiefs no more as that team where you just like super scared of anymore. They were gods who are now strong, but they're no longer a god. It's like they were like Hercules, and now they're just a really strong human. You know what I'm saying? Next game is Vikings. Falcons at Vikings. 22-6. Atlanta Falcons win. Michael Penix, 13 for 21, 135, no touchdown, no interception. Bijan Robinson, 22 for 143, 6.5 average. Drake London, 3 for 49. Kyle Pitts, 4 for 37. Bijan, 3 for 25. Vikings, JJ McCartney, 11 for 21, 158, 0 touchdowns, 2 inners. Running backs, Aaron Jones, 5 for 23. JJ McCartney, 5 for 25. Leading rusher, Jordan Mason, 9 for 30, 3.3 average. Justin Jefferson, 3 for 81. Jalen Naylor, 3 for 31. Thielen, 2 for 26. Hutchinson, 1 for 12. My immediate thoughts of this game. Bijan has a great game. Bijan, 6.5 per carry, 143 rushing yards, and also receives the ball 3 times for 25 for 8.3 average. Bijan has a great game. And then just the running game itself was a good game. Because even though Bijan goes 2 for 143 off 6.5, Tyler goes 16 for 76, 4.8 in a touchdown. So the running game was just on. And this goes back to what game was that? What game was that? The Bills and the Jets, right? Where Josh Allen didn't really have to put up any stats because the running game was just so good that if you look at the stats, you're looking like, well, the quarterback didn't do anything. Well, he didn't have to. The running game was so good, and they controlled the clock that they didn't have to do anything. Josh Allen had an okay game, but it's not because anything that he did wrong. It's because the running game was so good, he could chill. Same thing here. If you look at Michael Penix's completion to attempts, that's not bad. 13 for 27. What's that? 7, 8 passes missed? That's not bad. But the running game was so good that they almost go 200 yards. Well, that is 200 yards. They go 200 yards rushing, and they're averaging 11, 12 yards per carry. I mean, what else you want? So again, Bijan has a great game. The running game was great. Not much to really talk about that because, like I said, there was no real passing yards because the running game was pretty good. Only thing I will say outside of that is I don't know about Kyle Pitts. Like, he's the guy that you thought was going to kind of revolutionize the position because he basically has this wide receiver frame and just blew the walls down in his pro day and at the combine. He's 6'6", 250. Runs a 4 flat 40 and 22 reps at 225. So 6'6", 4 flat, 22 reps. You know what that is? That's Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson is 6'5", 237. Pitts is 1 inch taller than him and about 12, 13 pounds heavier. Right? As far as speed goes, he ran a 4.4 flat and he ran a 4.3 flat, 4.35. They're both moving, right? And we don't see how much he bench pressed, but probably knowing Calvin Johnson, he probably did somewhere either in that range. So Calvin, let's just put in there, Calvin Johnson bench reps. It doesn't include his results, so he didn't do it, but I'm pretty sure there's somewhere, right, that he at least, or did he just not bench press at all? So it doesn't say, but if you look at his frame or anything like that, you could probably say he did 20, maybe 22, maybe a little bit less, right? But basically, they're the same player as far as physicality, right? And the fact that we thought we were getting that at tight end, and then, like, at the same time, it's like, okay, like, we're getting that at tight end, but we could also move him at receiver. He can play in the slot. He can play on the outside. I just seen so much for Kyle Pitts. And so far, like, outside of being like a Madden household name, he just isn't doing it for me. Last year, 602 yards, 4 touchdowns. Year before that, 667, 3 touchdowns. Before that, 305, 2 touchdowns. The first year, he had 1,000 yards and 1 touchdown. Every year, he's gone up 1 touchdown higher than he did. The first year, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 3, 4. It's literally 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess he's due for 5 touchdowns this year. But it's just, when you look at his talent, for him not to be in the top 3 of tight ends, and he's only 24, because he was a rookie at 20 years old. He should be in that list. But he just isn't. And it's like, why not? So it's just weird that a guy like him isn't literally destroying the league. He should be destroying the league. But he isn't. So that's what I'll say about them. For the Vikings, JJ McCartney has a typical rookie game. I'm not going to get too high. I'm not going to get too low. These are, last week he's the hero this game. You know what I'm saying? He didn't play that well. 158, 0 touchdowns, 2 inners. But there's a lot that he needs that he's just not getting. One, where's the running game? I know Aaron Jones, I think, it just got put on IR, but where's the running game? Ain't that supposed to be one of the quarterback's best friends? Is a run game? Well, the running game has been horrible. Not only that, the closest receiver to the quarterback is supposed to be the quarterback's best friend outside of a running back, tight end. 1 for 12. So how are you supposed to be helping your guy? He needs help. But, I mean, where's Addison? Did he not play? Damn, why is it taking so long to get to him? Damn, they ain't got that boy on here at all. Man, they ain't got him out here at all. Let's see. Jordan Addison. Oh, is he suspended? So a DUI. I never understood that. Y'all got all this. Oh my god. Y'all got all the money in nice cars, and y'all decide to drink. I just don't get it, bro. I'll never understand it. I'll never understand it. How you guys can just piss away all that money because you want to drink and drive and put your life. And we've seen time and time again people kill others and kill others and kill. I'll never understand it, man. So he's not even playing. Addison is it? Yeah, man. Like he's missing a lot. He's missing a run game. He's missing the number two because they're gonna double Jefferson. They're gonna double Jefferson. So you need that guy that can catch passes that is reliable. And Adam Thielen is solid at slot at best, but Naylor, right? So he needs a lot. But again, I think that the philosophy is not working in JJ McCartney's favor. Even if you look at JJ McCartney, right, and you watch what he did at Michigan, and he was great at Michigan, and a lot of people are saying he's now Michigan's greatest quarterback. If you watch what he did at Michigan, 2,999 yards, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's not a great season. That's a good season. That's a very good season. I'm not gonna hate. It's a very good season. I'm not saying I hate, because I've already said I like JJ McCartney. But if you look at the numbers, these aren't crazy numbers. Like, okay, watch this. Let me go look up Caleb Williams right quick. Caleb Williams. So let's look at Caleb Williams' Heisman season, right? 36. Oh no, it's this one right here. 4,000, 4,500, 42 and 5, right? And even not his Heisman season, but a decent season, 36, 30 and 5. And then you look at McCartney, and his best season was 29, 22 and 4. That's a very good season. But again, that is a run-first offense. And it is predicated by run first, then play action, and dink and dunk, which can be very good. He could be Purdy. He could be Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy is very successful in this league. But I think he can even be a better version of Brock Purdy. But if you're asking this man to be a vertical guy, that's just not his game. And basically, he's a rookie because he didn't play his first year because he was injured. Torn meniscus in his right knee. So he didn't play his first year. But if you look at his game is not a vertical game. So when I watch him and I see who is his teammate and he's going to demand the ball, it's all vertical. And they don't even have a strong run game. So, like I said, man, I think that JJ McCartney is going to be a good quarterback, but unless he is used correctly, he's going to waste Justin Jefferson's prime, and his team will not be competing in the NFC, because as good as it is to have good talent around you, you have to have the right talent around you. And if you're telling me to be this deep thrower of the ball when I am not, that is not my game, you could also be doing me more harm than good. And yeah, that's all I said. Running game must help. Aaron Jones injured and on IR. So in order for this rookie to basically be effective, we have to the running game has to help him. That's number one. The running game has to help. Tight end must be more involved. And I mean, Justin Jefferson might be en route for one of his worst offensive games, offensive seasons. Now, I don't know if he wants to hear that, because maybe if he buys into, hey, you might not get 1,000 yards this season, but we might win more. I don't know if that's what he wants. Versus, I still want to be the elite guy and get my yards. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't know if this marriage is going to work, because although I feel like Justin Jefferson is a good receiver, what he brings to the game, his wide receiver really can't give him what he has or what he needs. Next game is Bucks and Texans. 20-19. Bucks win. They go 2-0. Houston Texans are still winless. Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, 25 for 38, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bucky Irvin, 17 for 71, 4.2 average. White, 10 for 65, 6.5 average, and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 5 for 56. Bucky, 6 for 50. Sterling Shepard, 4 for 34. And Mika Mbuka, 4 for 29 and a touchdown. Ryan Miller, 1 for 20 and a touchdown. The Texans, CJ Stroud, 13 for 24, 207 and a touchdown. Nick Chubb, 43, 3.6 and a touchdown. Nico Collins, 3 for 52 and a touchdown. Marks, 1 for 37. And Dalton Schultz, 29 off 3 catches. Immediate thoughts. Baker is definitely a top 10. The way Baker's been playing this year, and the way he's been playing, he's exactly what the Bucks need. That gritty attitude, get it by any means necessary, especially for a team that, you know what I'm saying, you're playing in the shadows of, if not the greatest quarterback, one of them, and Tom Brady. And you got to carve your own niche, because if you try to follow in the shadow of Tom Brady, that's a huge shadow he casts, So he's playing his own way, his own style, but they're winning, and he's putting up great numbers. And if you don't think Baker is a top 10 quarterback, he may just be 10, but he's definitely in there. Another thing that I seen, Mbuka's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. That man is a rookie, but he has the route running of a veteran. And if you see a guy that's young, who has the speed, who has the agility, who has the hands, and he's only a rookie, my God, what is he going to be like when he actually gets it down? Like, that's the scary thing. He's only a rookie, and he's playing just off of like he's playing off of talent and what he knows as what he's known as, in college. But imagine what this man's going to be when football is just 24/7. Because you got to think about it. He's just a rookie, which again, he's coming from college, which means he had part-time football, part-time school. You know what I'm saying? And now it's part football. He went from part football, part school to now just football. Imagine when he puts it together. Imagine when he gets that camaraderie with Baker Mayfield. Imagine what he's going to be like when football is just... That man's going to be really, really good. Like, and he's playing with Mike Evans, who's probably the most what's the word I want to use? He is Like, you know what you're going to get from Mike Evans every game. And when he's playing with him, you're playing behind a true pro. So as well, so as you're going off, but you're still learning too. And what a guy to learn from than a guy who is just a model of consistency and gets 1,000 yards every year, no matter who's the quarterback. They got themselves one in Mbuka. Like, he's next up at receiver for sure. The thing that I caught from the Texans is as they still out there hitting, man. I watched last game before this game, before they played the Bucks. They was out there knocking people out, right, left and right, just hard hitter after hard hit. And then I watched this game, and they just picked off where they left off at. They are smacking people. At least they might be 0-2, but they out there hitting. They are out there hitting. And it was like multiple plays. I'm just like, oh, and I love it. Because it goes back to the games that I used to watch. When the players out there really hitting people. So they might be 0-2, but they out there hitting. And the blitz was getting there almost every time. They were blitzing the hell out of Stroud. And it just makes you wonder. I know for a fact he is missing his left tackle in Tunsil. Because that O-line, they were literally blitzing him, and it was getting there almost every time. Almost every time that blitz was getting there. And I was just like, damn, are they going to change it up? Or it was getting there almost every time. So I know for a fact, like, you know, they're gonna be looking forward. They're gonna be looking forward to getting some offensive linemen in the draft. They got to. Cam Robinson's been a journeyman. Laken Thompson, 33. He's been a lot of places. Jared Patterson, I mean, he's okay, I guess. Ed Ingram, I don't know who he is. And then Titus Howard, another guy who's played. No, wait, has he played on multiple teams? No, he's only played for them, but 29. What has he done? He's okay. So that line started from the left tackle position and, you know, guard and stuff. They need an upgrade. And like I said, they were blitzing him all day. And the reason why they could just continue blitzing you is because, one, as much as I like Chubb, he's not that guy anymore. Chubb isn't that guy anymore. And again, I love me some Chubb. But he's not that guy anymore. And Mixon's not there. Tank Dell is not there. Diggs isn't there. So the other part that I put on there, Texans miss vertical threats, Diggs and Tank. Without Diggs, without Tank, their wide receivers are Nick Collins, Christian Kirk, Jaden Higgins, Berrios, Jalen Noel, Justin Watson, Xavier Hutchinson. Not one guy that I say names and I jumped. Tank Dell at least gave him a vertical threat. But now, if they want to, double Nico, or who are you gonna depend on? Who are you gonna depend on? So, you know, I think CJ Stroud is a very good quarterback, but when you ain't got the line, when your running back ain't that guy, And when you ain't got receivers that can help you, then yeah, it's not gonna look good, man. And I know for a fact, I'm pretty sure he wish he had Tank and Diggs, but he don't, and he's gonna struggle. He's gonna struggle, and not because of him, but because they don't have the pieces around him. So now he definitely isn't 0-2 material, but here they stand at 0-2. Last game, Chargers and Raiders. Chargers are now 2-0 versus the 1-1 Raiders. 20-9 was the score. Stats: Justin Herbert, 19-27, 242, 2 touchdowns, no inners. Rushing, he put in 31 rushing yards. Leads the team in rushing. Najee Harris, 8 for 28, 3.5. Hampton, 8 for 24, 3 yards per carry. Quentin Johnson, 3 for 71, a touchdown. Keenan Allen, 5 for 61, a touchdown. McConkey, 5 for 48. And then on the Raiders side, Geno Smith, 24 for 43, 180, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Asher Genty, 1143, 3.9 average, no touchdown. Jacoby Myers, 68 yards. Brock Bowers, 5 for 38. Thornton, 1 for 20. And like I said, I'll start with the Chargers. Herbert is playing like a top 5 quarterback. People always had Herbert in that top 10. I'll be honest, because that's all I ever am. If I did put Herbert in the top 10, he would be 10, because winning, like I said, I value winning in this league. You could look at how pretty stuff looks and everything like that, but I value winning. Stats are great, but I value winning. And Herbert, at least like I'm looking at Madden right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 was rated the 6th best quarterback. But then you got people like Hurts right under him, Goff, Prescott, Jordan Love, Mayfield, Purdy, Stroud, stuff like that, right? So even if you were to ask me prior to this year, I would take Josh Allen over him. I would take Lamar over him, Burrow, Holmes, Stafford. Hurts would be 6. Goff would be 7. Love, I would take over him 8. Goff, did I say Goff? I probably said Goff. I didn't say Prescott. Maybe Prescott. So even if I took Jaden Daniels. So even if I was CJ Stroud. So even before this year, even Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? Even if you are asking me, he probably is in that, 10, 11, 12 range, right? Because he throws a great ball, but if it doesn't contribute to winning, then I don't care how good it looks. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could care less on how good it looks. You know what I'm saying? So, but this year, if we're talking about this year, he has played better than Burrow. He's played better than Mahomes. Stat-wise, better than Hurts. I would take him over Goff, even though Goff is playing lights out. Of course, I would take him over Prescott. Of course, I would take him over Purdy. Of course, I would take him over Mayfield. So he is putting himself in that he's putting himself in that conversation where he might damn near win MVP this year. He keep playing what he playing. He might win MVP. They have a chance to beat the Chiefs, and a good thing that he plays against them twice. So even if he beats the Chiefs once, if he beats them again, because let's say, for instance, if he beats them once, people are like, oh, well, that's just one game. If you beat the Chiefs twice and you play good looking and while doing it, you've now put yourself in a very, very, very good conversation to win MVP. So he's definitely playing like a top 5 quarterback, and he could be playing like a top 3 quarterback when it's all said and done. Quentin has found his role, the deep threat role. Keenan Allen is a great veteran who works the middle, and Bosa's gone, and Mac is now injured. When I played Madden a couple years ago, and I seen that they had Mac and Bosa, I was like, oh man, you got 2 bookends. And even in the game, it just never felt like they got to the passer like I wanted them to. But in real life, you're thinking, oh, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, man, they about to wreak havoc. And now Bosa plays for the Bills, and Khalil Mack had a very ugly looking injury, looked like a dislocation. And where's your pass rush coming from now? Where is your pass rush coming from? I think there's a guy that had 2 sacks. Did he have 2 sacks? No. Hanley had a sack. Cardwell had a sack. Khalil Mack had a sack. But it's like Khalil Mack was that pass rusher that they game planned for. So I don't know. I don't know where that pass rush is going to come from, and it's sad because the Chargers is just getting decimated with injuries in key places. You know, I was very, very high on the Chargers this year, but I thought that the injury to Slater was very, very important. Alt has come in, and he was the starting right tackle, but he came in and he's now serving as the left tackle, and he's doing very good. But Slater and Alt should be your bookends, and they're not, because you know what I'm saying. It's just unfortunate, and so now you lost Slater, and now you have lost Khalil Mack. So as I'm looking on here, the next guys up is Bud Dupree, Caleb Murphy, Kyle Kennard, and Tuli Tupuloti or two. And I think he's been playing decent. Last year had 8.5 sacks. Year before that, he had 4.5. So, maybe this will be his breakout. He could really show his stuff without Khalil Mack. And then maybe Bud Dupree can, but it's unfortunate because I've really seen so many good things coming from the Chargers, and I was just like, man, like, these guys is finna do it. You know what I'm saying? And these injuries, man, they're just coming out of nowhere. So I still have faith in the Chargers, and they're gonna be run great because of Harbaugh, but still I really wanted I really wanted them to have all their pieces and just really make a good run. But so far, so good. Quentin Johnston, he was almost looking like a bust. I ain't gonna even lie. He was looking like a bust his rookie year. It looked like he could not catch. He was dropping everything. And, for him to be a first rounder and, looking the way he looked in his rookie year, I was just like, oof, not good. 437 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm like, bro, yeah, that is not a first rounder, bro. And, he was the 21st overall pick, but still, like, it did not look good. And then last year they get Harbaugh, and he goes from 400 yards to 700 yards and from 2 touchdowns to 8 touchdowns. And I'm like, okay, he's looking better. He went from, 25-yard average a game to, 47. I'm saying? He's like, oh, okay, he's building something. And now he's having a great year starting off. So how much a head coach is valuable in this league is showing you right there, that he was looked almost as a bust in his rookie year, and now is slowly, picking up. So I'm glad that he is, and I'm glad that players like Keenan Allen could go back to his old team where it started, and him be a part of the winning, because he was so crucial in the winning, or of building that team when he was there. So it's just good to see that he can be there while they're on their resurgence and stuff like this. So that's really good. And then for the Raiders, the run game is not existent. Offense must run through Brock, and they don't have receivers to throw the ball 43 times. Now, I can easily sit there and say, oh, man, Geno Smith had a terrible game, and he did. But this is why Genty was a terrible pick. When you pick running back, that is a leisure position, especially if you pick it in the first round for it. The reason why you can get an Ezekiel Elliott in the first round in the top 5 pick is because that whole O-line was already ready for a running back. Right? Who was the last? Google. Last. Wow. I don't know. Did I put that in there? Because that's exactly what I'm looking for. So let's look at the top running backs that were taken. So let's see, running backs. So Ashton Genty and Hampton, right? They were of this year, right? All right. So you got Genty and Hampton, right? Then before that, those guys weren't in the first round. Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. Okay. Again, if you look at Bijan, they have a solid O line. They have a solid O line, and there is a Pro Bowler, I believe, at guard. And then Bijan has arguably one of the best O lines in football, outside of maybe the Eagles. And then in 21, you got Reese was the first one, but he's not a first rounder. Najee Harris. All right. Look at Najee Harris. Look at Travis Etienne. O-lines are not good. Najee is now on another team. with the Chargers, and ETN was they sat him down. He wasn't even a starter. He just came back and showed why he should be the starter. But they sat him down because the O-line was not good. O-line was not good with the Steelers. O-line is not good with the Jaguars. Edward Lair, he was not that good. Now, was the O-line good? It was solid, but he just wasn't good. Josh Jacobs, Raiders, O-line, not that good. Even though he was good, line wasn't that good. He's out on another team. Saquon Barkley, Rashad Penny, Sony Michel. Sony Michel's not even in the league anymore. Rashad Penny is not in the league anymore. They did not have a good O-line. And Saquon Barkley, we literally seen a guy go and play for the Giants. And he's still the same back because even when he's playing with the Giants, I was telling my partner Jeff, I was like, bro, he's the best running back in football. And, he was like, man, nah, I think it's this guy. I'm like, nah, bro. If I could take any running back in the league, I'm going to pick Saquon Barkley. And his rookie year, he goes for 13-11. The very next year, he goes for 1,003 yards, 6 touchdowns. His third year, he's injured. His fourth year, I believe he gets injured. Fifth year comes back, 13-10. Next year, 902. And then he comes back and goes for 2K13 with Philly. What does that say? He's always been in the back, but you don't protect him, he's going to get injured. He's not going to be the running back that he should be behind a bad O-line. And if you look at the Eagles, they had everything already in place. They already had the receivers. They already had the tight end. They already had the quarterback. They already had the line. Now you can get your running back. Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey. Like, how many times have we seen a running back go to a team in the first round and they're not ready for them to have them? I don't care how good your running back is. If everything is not in place, he is not going to work unless he is Barry Sanders, unless he is Adrian Peterson, unless he is Marshawn Lynch. If you put that guy behind this terrible O-line, what is he going to do? Ricky Williams, great back in college. Great back in college. Gets drafted by the New Orleans Saints. 800 yards in his first year, 2 touchdowns. 1,000 the second and 8, 12 the next. Goes to Miami, has 18. At some point, you guys have to see the writing on the wall. I don't care how good you are in college. If you do not have the O-line intact, you will not be able to replicate what you did in college. Genty smashed records at Boise State. He's in the NFL and can't do anything. Can't do anything. Bro's played in 3 games. And guess what? I said the same thing about him that I said about Travis Hunter. Overrated. Because I know exactly what Genty needs in order to be successful, and he does not have that with the Raiders. So you guys are to pick him thinking that he's that guy, and because he doesn't have an O-line, he's not that guy. Not to mention he went against Boise, played for Boise State, and they play in a trash fucking conference. So I don't know what you were expecting from Genty playing from a trash conference like the freaking like Boise State, and what was that? The WAC? I don't even. Is it even the WAC anymore? The Mountain West? What did you expect? Then let's look at his stats. In 2 games, this all-world running back has rushed for 81 yards off 2.7 yards per carry. In the first game against New England, 19 for 38. He averaged 2 yards a carry. In the next game, 11 carries for 43 yards, 3.9 yards per carry. What's that schedule looking like? So you already went against New England. You already went against Los Angeles. I mean, at least the next 3 look like look like the next 4 he could probably do something. Washington, he could probably do something. Chicago, he could probably do something. Colts, even though they're 2-0, that I don't really see no pass rush over there that gives me fits. Could probably do something. Tennessee Titans, he might have his best game. We'll see. So he going against some people where he could put up some stuff, but last time I checked, New England ain't got really too nobody over there that at least in a run game that at least I'm just like super scared of. So we'll see. But like I said, man, when you pick a running back in the top 10, that O-line should be that they should have a good O-line because you're just wasting a pick at this point. You're just wasting. So, yeah, man. Like again, I'm sorry. Like I said, that I'm kind of late, but like I said, I work and you guys have not retired me yet, so I'm gonna try to get them out as fast as I can. But I work, so it's hard to get stuff out. But that's gonna do it for this video. Go ahead and check out part 1 if you haven't already, and then like I said, give your opinions in the comment section. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like, what you want to, what you thought was right, what you thought was wrong. And if you want to, like I said, debate me about it, we can debate about it. But you're probably going to be wrong, especially if you're not using your feelings and you're using facts. You're probably going to be wrong. But go right ahead if you think you can. Follow me on all my social media: Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube. All at the Almighty Lair, all the same. Even YouTube, even though I'm on this YouTube, I have another channel called the Almighty Lair, and I will start putting stuff on there soon. I just want to really get established first on this channel, and then later put it on that channel. So make sure you guys subscribe to that channel, so that when I do drop, you guys are already in line and already got your seat at the table. So when I start dropping, you already know what I'm dropping and when I'm dropping. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Let your friends and family know about the channel. And like I said, man, I'll try to get to you guys as fast as I can. Love and appreciate you guys.